For more on the situation in China and the political risks posed by the global economic crisis, we are joined by Bremmer, president of Eurasia Group and author of The Fat Tail, The Power of Political Knowledge for Strategic Investing. Welcome.
Good evening, Mark.
We've just talked about the unrest that's going on in China, and a lot of that is due to the high amount of unemployment there. So does that threaten the ability of the Chinese government to continue its free market policies?
Less than you'd think. The Chinese economy has grown at about 10% a year on average for the last 30 years. And the Chinese people, rightly in my view, see Beijing as responsible for that growth. So that gives them a great deal of political capital with their people. It also insulates them from 2 years of downturn. They also have an enormous amount of money in the bank that they can use, and they will use, on stimulus to provide more of a social safety net, and also to start to boost Chinese consumption, Chinese spending, because they're a nation of savers. Those things actually make China more insulated from this global economic downturn than many countries in the world.
Well, let's talk about some of the other countries, because you've written about the risk potential to places like Latin America and also Eastern Europe. If you're the average American, why should I be concerned about them?
Well, we should care because we're in a globalized world. During the Cold War, if the Soviet Union wasn't doing so well economically, not many Americans were exposed to that. But today, American-based multinational corporations make a lot of their money from the significant increases in growth that we've seen from countries like Brazil and Russia and India and China. And if those economies fall off a cliff, as many of them presently are, Americans and their portfolios and their pensions are going to be hit even worse than they have been over the past 6 months. That's why we should worry.
You've also written that in the future you believe that many of these sort of economic decisions are going to be driven by politics. Exactly what does that mean, and how significant a change is it?
Well, it's a very significant change for the developed world. We're sitting here in New York right now, and New York used to be the financial capital of the world, but today it's not even the financial capital of the United States. Washington is. And the decisions that are made by Washington, whether it's regulatory or stimulus, those are going to determine how quickly we get out of this, how intact we get out of this. It's not just true in the United States. It's true in Abu Dhabi as opposed to Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. It's true in Beijing as opposed to Shanghai, the commercial center in China. It's true for the government in Britain as well. That is really making politics fundamental in determining who the winners and the losers are in today's global economy. Very different from the world we were in last year.
Bremmer, thank you very much for speaking with us.
Martin, my pleasure.